Hey Loper Bulldogs, it's Mrs. Dehart. I am here today with Loper's second grade team. I'm excited to play a game with them. We are going to play the game If You Could, but first I want them to introduce themselves. They're going to introduce themselves in alphabetical order off of their last name. So let's see if they can do it. I have a little cheat sheet and let's see if they can remember. They're also going to tell you how long they've been teaching.
Okay. And we'll go ahead and go, right?
Go for it.
All right. I am Mrs. Branch because B would come before the other letters of their names. And I've been teaching for, guess what? 25 years.
Wow. Ooh, I wonder who's next. Ooh, alphabetical order.
Okay. It is Mrs. Chenoweth's turn, the C. This is Mrs. Chenoweth, and I have been teaching for 9 years, and I love my Loper Bulldogs.
Hi, this is Mrs. Meredith, and I have been teaching, I don't know if you want to guess, but I have been teaching for a while, 29 years.
Whoa.
And I am Mrs. Neiman, and I have been teaching for 11 years.
Awesome. These ladies are pretty great. We are lucky at Loper to have so many great teachers. Second grade really rocks it out. They get all of our third graders ready, our incoming third graders, for all those big tests, and they really prep them for their next year. But today we're going to just have fun. We're going to play a game called If You Could. So I'm going to ask the teachers if you could something, and the other teachers are going to give their input, and then the original teacher it was asked to will give their answer. So the first question is to Mrs. Branson. Mrs. Branson, if you could have another profession than teaching, what would it be? All right, Mrs. Chenoweth, what do you think Mrs. Branson would be if she wasn't a teacher?
I think if Mrs. Branson was not a teacher, she would be a famous explorer, and she would be climbing the mountains and be very famous all over the world.
Oh, I love that. Ooh, I really love that. I was starting to say something, but I'm going to wait for some other answers just because, yeah, maybe. Mrs. Neiman, what do you think Mrs. Branson would be if she wasn't a teacher?
I'm going to say a tour guide out in the West.
Oh, in the West. Very yeah,
you can
I like that.
Explore and talk to people.
Love that. Yes. Mrs. Meredith, what do you think Mrs. Branson would be if she wasn't a teacher?
Well, I kind of like Mrs. Neiman's idea, but I'm going to go with a tour guide in a museum because she knows so many facts about history and just a lot of good things. She's been teaching us a lot on Pause and Pass the Mic, so I'm going to hear that.
She really is very knowledgeable. She comes up with these wild facts that I never would have guessed, like especially on money and coins. I think that that's your that's your specialty in my brain. Okay, Mrs. Branson, what would your job be if you weren't a teacher?
Well, you know what? I think I want to change my mind because I think I want to do all of those things. But this will be just crazy because it doesn't go with what they were saying. But now I want to do that. But those would be my second and third choices and fourth choices. But my first choice would be a fashion designer. From the time I was little, I loved to draw. And Mrs. Meredith and I, we've been teaching for a long time. And she probably can even remember when we would draw things for our first graders, it was always me because I loved to draw. And if we had to make, back in the olden days, you had to kind of draw your own little worksheets if you wanted them. And I would be the one that would draw the things. Yeah. And so, but yeah, I want to do those other things because I'd love to work in a museum.
Oh,
you're still the one that draws things.
You know, the other thing about Mrs. Branson, I think that job would be really good for her too, because I don't know how many people know this, but her style is always on point. And she can mix and match those outfits where you think she has a new outfit every day for 180 days times however many years. Like really, she has a new outfit every single day. Okay, so Mrs. Branson, the teacher or the fashion designer or the tour guide. I love that. Okay, so the next one goes to Mrs. Chenoweth. Mrs. Chenoweth, if you could live your life as any animal, what would it be? All right. Mrs. Neiman, what animal do you think Mrs. Chenoweth would be?
Oh, that's a hard one. I think a dog, because she's very loyal and she likes to have fun. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I could see that.
Me too.
Mrs. Branson, what do you think? Oh. Okay, Mrs. Branson, what animal do you think Mrs. Chenoweth would be?
I think that she would be a baby mountain goat because they are strong, resilient, and just are engaging.
Oh, I love that. A baby mountain goat. You guys are so specific. I love this. Okay, Mrs. Meredith, what do you think Mrs. Chenoweth would be?
Well, I really thought of a dog too because they are always so friendly and loyal, and I think of Mrs. Chenoweth and I think of a dog.
She would be like a golden retriever. Like she would be a loyal, classic American dog, I think. Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
But
so nice and friendly, cheerful.
If you could be any animal, what would it be?
Okay. Well, Chris and Suzanne nailed it. The dog, even though I did like that idea of that baby goat, that is adorable. And especially
maybe they're cute.
I know, and especially if they have pajamas on, that would just be the cutest thing. But yes, if I had to pick, I would pick a dog, and I would pick one that does not shed. I would not want to be a shedding type of dog. So something small and just so sweet, and I just would love, I think they have the best life. They just kind of lay around and play and have fun all day with their people.
They really do. That is a good choice. And yeah, and I feel like too, they are like, they just, they get a lot of naps, and that's really important to me. So, okay, the next question is, Mrs. Meredith, if you could choose one place to travel, where would it be? So I think, really, let's hone in on her personality here, like anywhere. This could be anywhere. Mrs. Chenoweth, what do you think? Where would Mrs. Meredith travel?
I think she would go to Paris, France, and sit at a little bistro table and drink tea and have like beautiful cupcakes.
Oh, I love that so much. You guys are so good at this. Mrs. Neiman, what do you think? Where would Mrs. Meredith go?
I was kind of the same. I was thinking like Europe, like France or Italy or something like that. I think she would fit in well there.
She's very cute and dainty, and I feel like this is very fitting. You're right. Mrs. Branson, what do you think?
I am going to go completely away from what they're saying. I think it would be the continent of Asia and any islands, countries within the continent of Asia. There are so many interesting people and cultures, lots of things to see and do, and just immerse yourself.
That's really good. I
agree
whenever
with
you said the opposite way, I was like, is she going to make her like a bull rider in Texas? Or like, I didn't know what we were going to do. I was kind of nervous. Okay.
Or travel to a travel agency so she could go wherever she wanted.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, there you go. Mrs. Meredith, if you could go anywhere, where would you go?
I just love all of these ideas. But the first thing that popped into my head was going to France because I went there in high school, and I really would love to go back and see, and like Mrs. Chenoweth said, and just go to like the cafes and just sit back and drink some tea, and it sounds really good.
That does fit you.
Oh, but I don't know. There are so many good ideas, but yeah, it's hard to choose just one because then I would like to go to the beach and then, like Mrs. Branson said, some of those islands off of Asia. So it's hard to choose just one.
Well, and right now it probably seems fun to go anywhere. Like,
Yeah.
like
Right.
just
Any place,
down the street. I don't know, like a
Even-
restaurant.
even a restaurant. I would like to go just to McDonald's right now.
Sure, yeah, whatever. Okay, Mrs. Neiman, you're up. Mrs. Neiman, if you could choose one food to eat at every meal for the rest of your life, what would it be? Okay, Mrs. Meredith, what do you think that food would be? What would she eat for the rest of her life at every meal?
I think Mrs. Neiman would have a cheeseburger. I think she would like to have a cheeseburger with her family. And I just see her with her family having cheeseburgers on the grill. And that just seems like fun.
That just seems like her. Perfect.
Yeah.
Mrs. Chenoweth, what do you think?
I think I'm going to guess chicken parmesan because it's got the pasta and also the chicken, and it's lightly breaded and it has sauce on it and cheese. What more could you want?
Sold that, man. Like a kind of a commercial for chicken parmesan. You should work at Olive Garden sometime. Like, really good. Mrs. Branson is really deep in thought, like, because she's been holding this answer and she knows. Mrs. Branson, what do you think?
Yeah. Chips. They come in all forms, sizes. They can be made from corn, potatoes, even vegetables. So then you would have all of the food groups, which is the main food group is chips. And then there's chips and steak. So chips.
Chips. Okay. And just a side note, I'm remembering something now that you're saying the word chips, is that on your Secret Santa form, I do remember Mrs. Branson is a big fan of chips. Every single answer was just chips. So like favorite color, you know, anything, whatever it was, like it was just chips. She really wanted chips for Christmas this year. So she's pushing the
And
chips.
I want to be a chip.
Friends now. Okay, so maybe that should have been your other job. Was a chip. Okay.
I work for Frito-Lay too.
Yeah, that's true. Mrs. Neiman, what would that food be?
All of those foods are absolutely delicious. And I actually had some chips with my lunch today. But I would probably eat pizza every single day.
Oh.
I love it.
Good one. Yeah.
That's the second food group. Yeah.
Miss Sue gets very worried about me on Fridays or teacher pizza days in the cafeteria if I do not order one. She like calls and checks and makes sure I remember.
Oh, that's so nice.
I know.
She is the best. Okay, well, ladies, you are the best. I love this. This gave us a real insight on your personality and how good of a team you are too, because I think you know each other pretty well and you pointed out each other's characteristics. You know, I think you've really gotten to know each other, even if you never really sat and talked about chips or Paris or, you know, maybe becoming a travel guide. You know, those are or tour guide. Those are the things that you just learn about each other, just based off of your qualities as a teacher. Okay, so at the end of these episodes, I really like to do send-offs. So if you want to say something to your class, I'm sure that they're watching. There have to be so many second graders out there that are just wanting to hear your voice. So, Mrs. Branson, what would you like to say?
I would love to say, guess what, boys and girls? I miss you, and I wish we were all together again, but it's wonderful to see your faces every now and then, too.
Perfect. Mrs. Chenoweth, what would you like to say?
Second graders, I really miss you guys, and even though we are not together, we are still together. I also remember our big sign in our room that says shine, and you guys have really shown me that you know how to shine in the classroom and out of the classroom, and I'm just really proud of you.
Oh, I love that. Mrs. Meredith, what would you like to say to your boys and girls?
I just want to say that I miss all of you, and that even though we're not together, that I'm still thinking about you, and I know that you are doing your best, even though we're not at school, that you're doing your best at home. So I can't wait to see you this fall.
And you know what? That's something that we've really been like repeating to, is just to do their best. So I think that they need to hear that too. I'm glad that you kind of touched on that. Mrs. Neiman, what would you like to say?
I'd like to say that I miss everybody so much. I cannot wait until I can give you guys big hugs in the hallway again. And I am so proud with how you guys are working on e-learning.
All right, ladies, you're the best. We are really lucky at Loper to have such great educators and students. We couldn't do it without everybody, so it's a big collective effort. As I like to remind everybody, in the library we have that sign that says, "You are kind, you are smart, you are important." And I want you to remember that every day. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.